Yeah, look, I know I still owe you a shit ton of money, but I'm good for it, okay? I'm good for it. Look, I just hit last night picking the 49ers over Aaron Rodgers and most certainly Joe Shiesty over Tennessee. Yeah, there was no chance in hell Ryan Tannehill was going to win anything. Listen, I'm putting it all on Tampa Bay today, okay? My debt, what I owe you. Listen, look, you don't got to come break my legs. What I owe you plus what I won yesterday. I know no one else was betting on Jimmy G to beat old discount double check here. Look, I got to go, okay? I'm good for it. I get paid next week. Put everything that I won and everything that I owe you on Tampa Bay. They have to win. They have to win. It's the showdown between Jimmy G and Tom Brady coming. It's gonna look. I gotta go. I got a patient. Jesus Christ. Hey there. How you doing? I'm Dr. Kaczynski. I think I remember you. I think you came down to medical a week or two ago, if I can recall. Right. Yeah, you remember me? You had that big boil on your ass. We tried to pop it. You started kicking and screaming. I've never heard a grown man cry, scream, howl. Howl the way that you did. Yeah, you were unconsolable, I think is the proper word to say. I know you're probably a little confused right now, knowing that I am a doctor and you're down here in mental health. But I'm actually filling in for our other primary care physician who deals with mental health. They had a bit of a breakdown. Such a shame, such a shame. Dr. Bundy, Ted, he couldn't take it anymore. He had a mental break. It's actually written on your chart. I don't know why, like I'm supposed to tell you about this, but yeah, they've actually written on your chart to let you know that Mr. Ted Bundy, Dr. Ted Bundy, he's no longer going to be working here. I guess the way that it went, he heard enough. He heard enough guys bitching and moaning and complaining about girlfriends leaving them for Jody number 10s. No longer sending that. It drove the man insane, to say the least. He jumped out of a first floor window. I'm sorry. I shouldn't laugh. Again, I'm a doctor. I mostly specialize in feet. I got a thing for that. But I'm filling in for Dr. Bundy. So here we are. Here we are. So it seems you're having a bit of a mental break as well. Anything you care to talk about? No. Don't really feel like opening up to a doctor that was just, a week ago performing open heart surgery on your ass. Right. Probably a fair amount of PTSD still creeping in from that situation, I could imagine. I didn't sign up for this, I got to be honest. They're paying me $400 an hour to be here, so how's the saying go? I actually learned it from some prisoners, as a matter of fact. Fake it. Something about faking it until you're making it. Is that right? You ever heard that? So here we are. Rightio. Look, you may not feel comfortable opening up just yet. Hopefully we can break the ice to a certain degree. Do you know your name? I'm writing that down, but I hate to break it to you. Your name is not the unholy one. Yeah. Inmate appears to be suffering from some sort of mental collapse and delusion. I'm sorry, I talk out loud when I write. It's probably not a good character trait, being in the mental health department here at a jail. Yeah, listen, your file is telling me a little of what's gone on with you, so allow me to share what's written here and correct me if I'm wrong. You've been referring to yourself as the unholy one as of late. I hate to break it to you, but that's not your name. I don't know if you're thinking maybe you're in some sort of a Spider-Man movie, or what do you think, you're Venom? You think you're Venom? Do you think you're a Marvel comic superhero or villain? You're not the unholy one. I hate to just be so blunt about that. It says here, all of this transpired just a few weeks ago, which you've only been locked up a little bit longer than that. It says you've been locked up here for 2 months. And in that time, you got involved heavily with the church. And good for you. Good for you. Everybody needs something while incarcerated. And a lot of guys, they treat religion as a crutch. I'm just calling it the way that I see it. I've been doing this for a long time now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free to interject if you'd like. You don't have to sit here so stone-faced. The unholy one. Yeah, so it says a couple of months ago you got locked up. You're only 20 years old, going down the wrong path at an early age. Probably going to need to take an exit at some point if you want to do anything better with your life, or else this could easily become a revolving door for you. Trust me, I've seen it happen many a times. Well, this is something you don't see every day. Usually it would be drugs or burglaries, robberies, some sort of theft, maybe something violent. But in your case, it says that you were in an airport. You were on your way to go visit your grandmother. And they searched your baggage at the checkpoint, your carry-on, and they found a knife. And you got arrested for that. You got arrested for having a weapon in the airport. It says here you've got no prior criminal history, but there is a little bit of documentation about some mental health issues, depression, bipolar, manic episodes. So maybe that's what led to what happened when you went to court. Okay? We can talk about this if you want. I'm a prison doctor. I'm here for you. Or at least until the game comes on in just a little while. Do you fancy football at all? You don't. Inmate is not a fan of football. Not much of a real man at all. Sorry. Talking out loud. I really need to work on that, like zip it up, throw away the key, so to speak. Yeah, no big deal if you don't like sports. A lot of guys nowadays, they don't like sports. Don't know what it is. You got locked up for having a knife on your carry-on in the airport. That was a federal offense. That's a pretty serious charge. Getting caught with a weapon in an airport. You got arrested. You came to jail. You joined the prayer group, the prayer circle. How does that work? Care to elaborate? There we go. I knew you had a voice. Right, so guys just circle up in the evening time, prayer call. Probably a lot more prevalent when a guy's got court coming up the next day, I would imagine. It is. Yeah, I figured as much. Religion seems very important. Pre-trial, right? I want to say, first of all, good for you. Good for you as a young man facing a serious allegation, a serious charge, getting caught with a knife in an airport. It was probably an accident. Okay, we'll just pretend like it was an accident. Um, you come to jail. You're probably scared to death. Oh, you weren't. You don't. You don't have to pretend here. Okay, we can speak freely. And you didn't join a gang. That's what I want to say. You should give yourself a pat on the back right now that you did not join a gang. I'm proud of you. But instead of joining either the Bloods or the Crips or the ABs, you couldn't join the Bloods, the GDs, the MS3Ds. You joined a bigger car. Bigger than any set in any housing unit I can imagine. You got in God's car, as you should have, young man, as you should have. If there was a car that you could have got into while serving time, God's car most certainly was the one. It says here in your chart that you were taking this quite seriously. You actually became the housing unit preacher. Oh, you were the preacher's assistant. Okay. And again, that is a commendable, noble thing to do. I mean, it truly is. But it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like you may have been doing this hoping that maybe God would be there when you went to that bond hearing. Am I right about that? It's okay. It's okay. You know what? It's almost better if you just admit it, right? Because there's so many guys that they probably wouldn't admit that. They'd say, no, that's not the case at all. I've always been religious. I hold prayer circles in crack shack motels right before we're pushing the pipe, right? So, admitting that takes real guts. Can you see that you were probably doing that? Using God, using him, hoping that when you went to court, you would get a bond? You don't think that that's what it was? Okay, well, that's just a general observation. I could be wrong, but I'm probably not. Sorry. Jesus Christ. I literally zoned out. That's never really happened. I was making a grocery list. I think I'm going to try to hit the grocery store before the game comes on. Listen, maybe this will add a little clarity. Maybe it'll refresh your memory a little bit, so to speak. You went to court for a bond hearing, no criminal record, but a charge that could be seen very serious. And given the fact that you have somewhat a lengthy history involving mental health, they gave you a bond. But this is where the story gets a little strange. It says this was not a personal recognizance bond where you could just sign for yourself to get released. You had to have a guardian sign for you. Now, I can understand. You're 20 years old. You're grown. You don't need no guardian to sign for you. But in your particular case, broken, referring to yourself as the unholy one these days, the courts felt like it was probably in your best interest, especially given the fact that you've got a lengthy mental health history here. The courts felt like it was in the best interest for you if somebody signed for you to be released. Can you see how that could possibly be an okay thing? You are grown. You're a grown man. You're in an adult jail right here, facing some adult charges. But they wanted to make sure that you were okay. The courts did. They wanted to make sure that somebody was going to be there for you, not to babysit you, just to watch over you, maybe to cuddle you, to be there for you, sort of like I'm trying to be right here, right now. Yeah, that was a little weird. You came back to the housing unit. You were ecstatic, praising Jesus, um, telling all of the other prisoners of the miracles that had been bestowed upon you for your faith. Right. It actually says that you were running around screaming, Jesus is real. He's inside of each and every one of us right now, which is absolutely the truth. Okay? That is real. Okay? So I don't want you to feel like that's in your head. But something happened between all of that miracle talk and where we are currently right now. You down here talking to a doctor, referring to yourself as the unholy one. Timothy, what happened? Tell me. Right. And that's okay. Nobody came for little Timothy. I'm sorry. I only say little because you're 20, right? Youngin', little whippersnapper, do-rag tied, super tight. Timothy, how did you feel when you realized that nobody was coming to get you? Nobody was going to be able to sign for your release. Is that what caused you to start feeling a little unwell? That's okay. That's okay. Let's see if this refreshes your memory at all. It says right here, okay, they document everything in these jails. Everything's recorded. Everything's on videotape. They said that shortly thereafter, the honeymoon phase, they referred to it as the honeymoon phase. You came back from court. You had a bond. You just needed a signature. They said you began to crack and become extremely hostile. And in fact, it's quoted here, a piece of a conversation I guess you had with another prisoner where another prisoner seems to have been trying to calm you down, telling you, Timothy, calm down. It's in God's hands now. Just pray about it. God's got you. And you were quoted as rebuttaling, saying, God, comma, question mark, God, comma, question mark. I'm not sure if that's proper. I'm not sure if Grammarly would approve of that. God, question mark, God, question mark. God can't help me now. I need a signature. Can God get me one of those? You remember that? You remember that conversation, Timothy? Not really. It's a little foggy. Is that where the unholy one was risen up inside of you? Probably. Look, I understand, right? I mean, I don't understand, but I try to relate. I can't imagine what it would be like to go to court knowing all you need is a signature to be released. And that signature never comes, right? I can imagine what that would do to a young man's psyche. You know, did you have any intentions at all of following through with, they interviewed other prisoners about you. It's crazy that they did this, but other prisoners said, Timothy became ambitious with religion. They said you wanted to go out and start your own congregation in church. Not anymore. That's for the birds. Can I quote you as saying that? F no. Satan is Timothy, calm down. Calm down. Timothy has lost his fucking mind. Sorry. God, I gotta stop with that, but I mean, it's pretty true, Timothy. You're, as the saying goes, Batshit crazy. Yeah. Look, I'm not a lawyer, though that would be pretty good. I'm a doctor. Okay? I'm nobody to sit here and try to give you any type of legal advice. But just calm down, okay? You're not the unholy one. Okay? You're Timothy Jeffrey Adams the fourth. Coming back to you remember that? Long lineage of Timothy Jeffrey Adams in your family? Right. The unholy one is just a figment of your imagination. Okay? A character that was created inside of your screwed up head. When that proverbial carrot was dangled in front of your head, that proverbial carrot being a release. And, maybe this is for your own good. Maybe you do need to just sit it down for a little while. Figure out what you're really trying to do with your life. Are you trying to carry knives inside of airports for whatever reason? Or are you trying to go home and start you a church? Timothy Jeffrey Adams the fourth. Look, I feel like that's a good place for us to leave this. Okay? The unholy one, it's not real. Okay? You're just a screwed up young white guy. Locked up. You will get out eventually. Timothy Jeffrey Adams IV. Go home when you can. Don't escape. Start that church. Start that church, young man. Start that church. Look, I gotta go. I've got my retirement on this upcoming football game. Go watch a game, okay? Go watch a game. Go play you some Scrabble. Learn some words. But whatever you do, Timothy, just keep your head up. If the unholy one is not realized to be a figment of your imagination sooner than later, let me tell you something. We've got a special place for guys like you. It's a 24-hour surveillance cell where we'll put you down there butt ball naked, temperature on 50. And all you'll have is a Kevlar vest / turtle suit to keep you company. Timothy, you better straighten up and fly right, young man. Because I can promise you, there's worse places you can be than general population. Take care now and get your head out of your ass. You're not a Marvel superhero, nor a villain. You're Timothy Jeffrey Adams IV. Remember that.